go. Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to another amazing simulcast, amazing episode of Fast Charging with B&B. I'm Brian.
And I'm not. I'm Bear.
I believe him this time. Oh, what a week we've got in store for you. So much good stuff. I can't hardly figure out where to start.
We've got a ton of stuff, and we are going to go over everything. And everything that we don't go over today, we're going to come back and we're going to hit it up next week.
Yeah.
Aren't we?
Yeah, I think so. We'll explain that when we get to the end.
Yes,
but for now...
We've got a caveat on today's episode.
But for now, why don't we just jump into it?
Let's do it right now.
So, did you hear that California wants their residents to limit EV charging over Labor Day weekend? What's that about?
That is called FUD, because
It
that
is.
title is incorrect.
Yeah.
Incorrect title. The title should be California wants residents to limit EV charging during peak times, which is, I believe, 4 p.m. to midnight. And otherwise, feel free to charge your way into your glorious little life.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and
Charge
people
them
have
before
taken that
4
and
p.m. Yep.
Run with it.
Yeah. Or after 9 p.m. It's really just 4 to 9 p.m. They're saying, go easy on it. And it's not that they would have failures. It's not even that they would have blackouts or brownouts. It's that the rates would get high, real high. And the more you can avoid doing that, the happier you'll be as a consumer, and the better you'll do for the grid overall. And most people, how often do you charge? How often is it critical for you to charge between 4 and 9 p.m.?
Well, this is 4 to 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., I think. But that's their peak time, so, not much you can do about it. I think, I personally, when I charge, my peak times are 2 to 8 p.m. So I avoid it as much as I can, and I just work around it. It's part of having an EV is trying not to charge during the peak times. And it's not that hard. Sometimes I miss and screw up, but as long as you can schedule the car to start at 9 or 12 or whatever time it is, then you're good. And some of the cars have better scheduled charging than others, but it's something that you can do and set it and forget it.
Yeah, that makes it a Ronco slow cooker, doesn't it?
Yep.
By all means, we saw this fun one on Twitter. Well, we should all run out and buy electric cars, even though our power grid can't even handle the current load. What a joke this state is. Yeah. So this response is as good as anything we could come up with. Hey, look, an education opportunity. Most people charge their cars between midnight and 6 a.m., which is not when the state is asking people to reduce demand. Peak demand is about around between 4 and midnight. There's actually quite a lot of untapped production capacity overnight, 15 to 40%, depending on the region, when the grid is not strained. I understand your knee-jerk reaction comes from a place of propaganda and conservative media, but we all need to get together and understand the true issues here using science and facts.
Yeah. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the electricity production is actually reduced overnight because the demand is less. Where like hydro plants, they will either turn off the generators because there's no place for it. They can't store all the electricity, and there's no place for it. So they just reduce the amount of electricity that they actually produce at those off-peak times. Now, if people are charging in the middle of the night and there's more demand, they could easily crank that up a little bit easier than they can during on-peak times when they're maxed out.
And this isn't because of electric cars. This is because of a perfect storm of an incredible heat wave and also electric cars, and I'm sure some other factors as well.
Yeah, I'll throw in what those other factors are.
Please.
The states like California, being on the environmental side for decades, have not allowed any hydro dams to be built probably in 20 or 30 years. No nuclear reactors, no power plants have been created. They are since they're very anti that, and for the environment, they have created, that has led us to the perfect storm. That is one of the reasons why California has had electricity shortages over the last 10, 15 years, is because they are taking production out. Like they'll take out a coal powered plant, but not having the ability to replace it with anything. And I know that they have with renewables in the last decade, but before that they weren't replacing them with anything. They were just taking them out.
And to an extent, they've been replacing them with intermittent sources like wind and solar, which are great and can be used to an extent to supplement base. But when coal is on, it's just on. When nuclear is on, it's just on. And although you can go to a easily 70-80% renewable system, getting to 100% is very difficult without something to maintain steady base.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, hydropower is renewable.
Oh, yes. Yes, but like you said, without adding new capacity for that. They've added a lot of wind and solar.
Yes.
That only gets you so far.
I think the capacity they get out of a hydro dam is a lot more than, or you need quite a bit of wind and solar. But it comes down to not wanting to kill a spotted duck or something like that, and then you can no longer build that dam.
Well, hydro does come in different sizes. You know, there's the Grand Coulee Dam, which produces an absolute ton. But some of that water that goes back down the dam is then pumped back up the hill for irrigation over towards Coulee City, where there's another much smaller dam and a very small amount of hydroelectric power being produced there. But I understand. I'm with ya, Bear.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's this about? I'm looking at this receipt here. Somebody in Buena Vista got a very bad view of how much it costs to charge during those ridiculous peak hours at 5:58 p.m.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if that was like a homeowners association or a building that might have had like a charger set up at like the clubhouse or something like that, and they just wanted to jack whoever they wanted to around, maybe like residents in that neighborhood. Maybe they get it for free or they get a reduced rate, and people I don't know, I'm just guessing.
Well, it says 912 South Main Street. I think it's because it's during those terrible peak hours. And yeah, $68 for a partial charge, not good at all. Had a 50 kilowatt charger. Ugh.
Yeah, they spent 52 minutes there, so that was more than $1 a minute. Yeah, and then of course they had to throw on this sales tax, the county tax, the town franchise tax, and they're just getting them every which way. But that's just screwed up, and this is one of those things that's going to be thrown out all over the interweb, saying, "Look how much it costs to charge a vehicle up. This is crazy. I'm never going to do that." With that accent.
Right, of course. I agree with that part, certainly. I think everyone watching knows better, but it's still important to point out which part is ridiculous. So charging. You know, I wonder if there's a difference between the different brands of chargers.
Oh, of course not. They're all the same.
They're all the same. If you look inside, why, that Electrify America charger on the left is a mess of spaghetti, and the Tesla supercharger on the right is less so.
Yeah, the one on the right, the Tesla one, obviously looks a whole lot more organized. Though, I do have a question. Is there anything on the bottom of that we're not seeing?
There has got to be. There has got to be.
Because here's a life-size image of a supercharger. There is a whole bunch of stuff down here.
Yep.
And we don't see it in the pictures. So, to be fair, and also trying to be fair, is I think that's an EA charger. That also has a screen on it.
Sure.
So
sure. And it's not a totally fair comparison. By the way, I will be interviewing an engineer from Electrify America this coming weekend. So if you guys have any clever questions I should ask of them, by all means, share them with me.
Yeah. So you do. I know you asked me earlier, and all I did was make a joke. Like, why doesn't the guy work at Tesla instead of EA? But one thing to ask is, can they not tie billing into the vehicle itself? Is there no data that's transmitted, like on, let's say, a Polestar or a Hyundai or a Ford, that goes back through the EA charger saying, like, hey, this is my VIN number, which is then attached to the account for the person, so that they can do something, make it seamless, where the Tesla superchargers, you can walk up, plug it in, the charger recognizes the car, and from there, it just starts giving you electricity, and then it's going to send you the bill, or actually it's just going to charge your credit card when all is said and done. Where the EA and all the other ones go, pay me first, and we'll go from there. Then you run into issues where the credit card's machine is not working, or there's other issues, it doesn't recognize you, and then every time the charger cuts off because there's some sort of failure, which happens a lot, then you're going to have to run your credit card and go through the whole starting it up again. So is there not some sort of data? There has to be some sort of data flow that goes back and forth between the car.
Right.
Would be my guess.
So I did get
if there isn't, that is a major difference between the CCS chargers and the Tesla chargers. Because if the Tesla chargers can transmit that data so that you get seamless charging, and the CCS chargers cannot, then all in all, Tesla superchargers are better.
So
even though they already are.
In the comments, David said, I have the whole picture in front of me. There is nothing in the bottom of a Tesla supercharger. And
Okay.
The questions that came up, Jeff wants to know, why no worky? And JJ said, can you ask about the amount of EA chargers being placed at Nikola? They currently have one. All good questions. I will not be asking why no worky, because I'm nice to people who are gracious enough to come on the channel. I will still grill them a bit, but not quite that hard.
Yeah, and Nikola is using tritium, and JJ knows that. Do we have something about tritium today, or is that going to be
That's next week.
Oh, darn. Okay, sorry, suckers. Next time.
But yeah, I'll ask. Certainly.
All right, yeah, we'll burn that up next week.
Sure.
Segway.
Burn it up, baby. Do you know that Amazon took all U.S. solar rooftops offline last year after flurry of fires and electrical explosions?
Yeah, that looks pretty bad.
That does not look good.
No. I don't think it's inherently a problem with solar. I think it's a problem with the installer, or either the installer or the designer who laid something out that caused the wires to have too much heat, and there was a failure in the design. So it's more than likely that the same designer may have done it for all of them than having the same company, but I can't say for sure. I don't know.
Well, and I think it only takes one or two, maybe three fires before you say, shut it down until we can see what's going on. Mm-hmm. Too risky.
Well, I think it took them 5 or 6.
After a rash of fires. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's unfortunate.
Definitely need to go back to the designing and planning and the layout of this. Obviously, these things were running for a while. If there was a fault right at the beginning, it would have caught fire fast. But if it works for 2 years and then something else, there's something wrong. Probably I would say with the construction, where maybe wires started getting worn or something like that, rubbing on something, and then shorting themselves out.
And we know it's almost certainly not a problem with the panels themselves. It's most likely a contractor issue or a configuration issue, because these are very rare. And yeah,
I still have confidence in them. I sleep probably 7 feet underneath a set of solar panels when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I better
yeah.
have confidence in them.
And I've never seen a solar panel fire myself. And I've seen how many solar panels? At least 3.
Yeah. I've seen more gas station fires.
I have not seen one myself, but
Well, not in person.
oh, I see.
Yeah,
I
it's just
see.
like staring at stupid stuff on YouTube all day. You've never done that?
I've never done that. What's this site you speak of?
You spell it Utube. It's like Ute.
Utube. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's familiar now.
Yes.
Uh,
So I think if there is a problem with the solar panels, it's because it's a very secret way for China to destroy us.
well, is China big in solar?
They're more than big. They're huge.
Might be a big thing. Yeah, it turns out, and this should be no surprise to anyone, that China makes most of the polysilicon, which is the monosilicon and the polysilicon used in the chips, in the wafers, in the panels themselves. They make 96.8% of the wafers, 85% of the cells, 75% of the modules. That's a lot, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that's just part of what I keep spouting about their energy independence, to not be reliant on anyone. So they're putting these things up anywhere, and then at some point they're going to cut us all off, and they're only going to have them for themselves.
Well, what I wonder is if they will gladly sell us as many as we want because they have surplus capacity, but whatever surplus capacity they have, they just snag up internally,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
would be my theory.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think that it's just part of their master plan to rule the world, and they are going to succeed unless somebody stops it, because they are going to be energy independent a lot quicker than anybody would have ever expected, being that they can't produce any energy or any fossil fuel energy. So, I mean, it's the right track, but you need a totalitarian government in order to get there that fast. So.
Yeah. Yep. Do you know that Toyota announced a $2.5 billion expansion of the North Carolina plant, adding 350 jobs and BEV battery capacity?
Yes, Toyota, the one who says that we're not going to make EVs.
Do you realize just how many hybrids they can make with this new plant?
I think if you do the math, the number is a cajillion.
Yeah.
I don't know how many zeros that is.
Yeah. It's got umpteen zeros, I think.
Umpteen?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Sounds high, but it's still in the teens. It's a James Acaster joke. It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I laughed.
good. I'm glad that Toyota is at least partly getting on board. It'd be nice if they went serious with their EV strategy, but I'll take what I can get.
You don't think Buzzforks is a serious attempt?
I do not, and neither do they, because on their recall notice they said, you know what, just bring it back.
We'll give you your money back and a hat and a T-shirt. I bought a Buzzforks and all I got was this lousy shirt.
And 3 functioning wheels. Anybody else working on batteries?
Everybody's working on batteries. BYD, and that's a B with a B. BYD. Yeah, they're going to build an EV plant in Thailand as it expands its global presence. BYD is big into EVs, very big, and they're not going to slow down. And they're not one of the companies that you wonder if they'll be around next year.
So they've got a lot of EVs. More than that, they've got an absolute ton of plug-in hybrids, which I'm not. Bear and I have discussed this. We're not super fans of plug-in hybrids, but I get it. At least they're moving in the right direction. And yeah, BYD, as new and growing as they are, is a very serious player. Kind of out of nowhere, at least by Western standards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've probably been around 600 years and we never noticed.
Right. Right.
They were probably making some sort of straw something in the fields of China 600 years ago. Weapons or something. I don't know.
Right. Right. Well, you know how old Nintendo is, don't you?
No, I don't. But
1880s, I think.
Really?
Yeah, they sold playing cards and games. Just like now, they sell games. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, I remember back in the 1880s, there was not a lot of places to get playing cards.
Yeah. Yeah,
Was the
mostly
logo the same?
they came out on wagons.
Bring out your playing cards. All right. So we have more batteries, though, don't we?
Well, did you know that GM is in a venture that will start making batteries at the Ohio plant for the Hummer EV? And thank goodness, because they're going to need a lot.
Yeah, they definitely are going to need a lot. I don't remember how big that battery pack is for the Hummer. Do you remember?
214, 217, I think it's 214 kilowatt
Yeah.
hours. The battery weighs more than a Honda Civic. For real?
Yeah. So there's got to be some sort of inefficiency there that I don't understand, because this thing doesn't weigh that much more than a Rivian.
It weighs 9,000 pounds.
But a Rivian's 7,500 pounds.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's not that much more. I know there's no aerodynamics to it. It's not that much bigger of a vehicle if you've ever seen one in person.
Oh, it's gotta be. It's gotta be.
It's big. It's the size of a Hummer H2, maybe a little bit bigger.
That's still
But-
very big.
Yeah, well, still, when it comes down to it, it's still 1,500 pounds bigger than a Rivian. And what's a Rivian battery? Is it 77 or 100?
Way smaller. Yeah,
Yeah.
easily less than half.
Yeah.
And
you're
gets
talking a
reasonable
battery pack,
range.
a battery pack that might be just over a third the size.
Right.
And the range on the Hummer is not that much more.
No.
Now, granted, Hummer's got the Hummer 3 has three. It's a tri-motor. So, but the Rivian's a quad motor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is that on all of them, or just the higher end?
Well, what Jeff
You
wanted
see,
to point out earlier in the comments is Mary lead pipe in the library. Get the clue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff. I did my best.
Yeah. JJ says, I can't believe that Bear forgot that one of the first in-ground charging stations at Nikola is from Electrify America. I didn't forget it. The rest of them are tritium. So I'm aware. I don't know why you think I forgot.
And
All
I did want to acknowledge my one super chat from Lockbert saying, I am here for the Mary Barra mentions. Well, you should be, because she's the leader.
Yeah. So just for the record, I do want to get a Hummer from Mary. Just saying.
I shall take that literally.
Well, I have ordered one, so I'd like Mary to get me that Hummer as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Oh, we have worse things coming.
Do we? Than that.
Yeah, the Rivian one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But while we're talking about real, true leadership, GM will offer U.S. Buick franchise dealers buyouts.
Yeah, I completely agree with what this article leads up to at the end of it. It's talking about direct to consumer, and I think this is part of it. You start buying out as many dealerships as you can possibly get bought out. This is the same deal that they had for the Cadillac dealers. Buy out if you don't want to start investing in EVs and get chargers at your dealership. We'll give you some money to go away. And I don't believe it's a lot of money. For the Cadillac dealers, it wasn't. But they have to invest about $200,000 in upgrades for EV chargers, tooling, and training. And if you don't want to, they'll buy you out. You can no longer be a Buick dealer. What I don't understand on this, I don't know how it is where you live, but when I drive around and if I see a Buick dealership, it is part of a GMC dealership.
Right.
And it's usually GMC Buick and might be something else on there.
Right.
So the question is, if you're just buying out the Buick part, are they not at some point going to, GMC is going to come back and say, hey, well, now we're switching over.
Right.
Do you want to get bought out?
But if they have to buy them each individually, they can sell them each individually. Mm-hmm. And yeah, then the question is, will they still service a Buick at your Pontiac, GMC dealer? Is Pontiac gone? I think it is.
Yeah, Pontiac's long gone.
Oldsmobile's gone too, right?
Yeah, so is Studebaker. Saturn.
So is LaSalle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tucker. Tucker's gone. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Tucker?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've been to a lot of car museums.
Oh, yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
William says, who knows that Buick is even in business? Buick has this car which is dreadfully awful. I think is it the Riata? It's really small. It looks like a Chevy Bolt in a way.
Yeah.
But gas powered. It's got that shape to it, and it's not attractive.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, leadership, Bear. You and I just don't understand.
We don't. I mean, neither one of us know how to lead this fast charging episode because we can't. Neither of us can be the lead. We have to go back and forth. We don't even know which B comes first. So we are definitely not leaders.
Tesla Herbert asked, wait, do you guys actually do it live on both channels at the same time? How does that even work? And I said, the first couple weeks, poorly. But we got it sorted out.
Yeah, we did. We did. But continuing on with GM, we've got the Equinox.
Yeah. Did you know that the future is electric? Now it's your turn?
I think I killed my Equinox link.
Hmm.
Oh, no, there it is. I got it. What were you saying?
I was just reading the tweet. Our future is electric. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. So, I really never paid attention to this car ever, the Equinox.
Yeah,
and I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right, but I bought one 2 weeks ago.
No.
Yeah, I did. So, and it's such a plain Jane kind of car. It's like, if you were to rent a car, you'd think like, this is what I would expect.
Yeah.
There's not much to it. There's nothing exciting about it. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with this car to make it a little bit more exciting. I can see the quick glimpse of the interior is more exciting than what they have now, and I'm sure they're going to come out with probably an LT version and an RS and maybe an SS version, and I'll throw them $100 down for one of them.
Yeah, the interior looks fine.
Not?
We'll see what happens.
It's supposed to be $30,000. That's going to be for a short range, 220 mile range, right? And if you're going to want to go further, it's going to cost you $10,000 to get up to that 250. But we'll see.
The EV credit will be back by the time these are delivered, and you'll get some portion of that.
As long as the materials are mined from.
Well, that's just for part of it. Just being made in America gets you something. Made in North America gets you something.
True.
Oh, guess I didn't need to do that.
Thanks for taking the volume up.
Any other car companies doing as good a work as GM?
Not exactly.
Honda executive says lithium-ion EVs won't ever be as cheap as gas cars.
Instead, Honda's betting on solid-state batteries to make EVs affordable.
Yeah. And did you know that, fission will never be as cheap as coal. That's why I'm banking on cold fusion. Solid state doesn't exist yet, guys.
That's a fact check. True.
When it does, let's go all in. But until then, I mean, we have to move forward with the technology that exists.
That is true. And if they can, maybe in 20 years they're going to be like talking about something that's beyond solid state. They had solid state out. It worked. Now they found something better. Maybe they got that that cold fusion going. Who knows? But
Yeah.
maybe somebody will finally figure out the perpetual motion machine,
Of
and
course.
we'll all be good. And that runs on water. Oh no, we'll have a water shortage. That runs on carbon.
Yeah, that
That's
runs
the
on
idea.
CO2.
Yeah,
That's a hell of a deal. That's a good
yeah.
idea.
I'm gonna develop something to make carbon burn and safely.
Well, this is too much bad news, Bear. I need some good news.
Um, Good news. Well, VW says they're going to kick Tesla's ass.
Great.
Is that good news?
Yes, I'd like them to try because you definitely can't do it if that's not your objective. You're not going to accidentally beat the market leader. But if you push and you're smart and you make compelling products, you can absolutely make great headway.
Yeah, so Volkswagen is saying that they're going to overtake Tesla by 2025. That's their goal. So maybe they will, maybe they won't.
They won't. 2025? No, that's crazy talk.
Yeah, I'm not sure how relevant it really is, but 2025, Tesla could be easily pushing 5 million cars out. But they do need to get another factory started soon. So the new CEO of Volkswagen is making their push to do this. This is the guy that recently was installed after they axed the other one, Diess, got rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, give it your best effort. I'm
Yeah.
not going to knock you for trying.
Right. But
As long as you
2025, that's just
Yeah.
unrealistic.
As long as they don't claim that they're already there, when it's clearly, not.
I love that we're still looking at renders.
Oh yeah, well, but renders are so pretty.
They're much prettier than the real thing.
Yeah, because when I scroll down and I see the interior and exterior tour, I'm going to hit the play button and turn off the volume. It's not as pretty just sitting in that driveway that they have. It was so much shinier on the render. Oh yeah, that render's pretty. And that's not. Are you looking at the YouTube?
I'm looking at the interior on YouTube, and that is.
I haven't gotten that far yet. I know that.
Oh,
it
I
was
just
bad
skipped forward. It's
before.
around the 2-minute mark. That's just a
All right,
car.
let's go for that.
Yeah, it's just a car.
Yeah, a lot of straight lines in it. Interesting. I want to see that back.
Go for it. Go for it.
Wow.
But Polestar's doing okay.
Yeah. Polestar is doing okay, and thanks to people like me, because I have a Polestar, and not as good as a Tesla, but I think I still like it better than my Hyundai. Ooh.
Don't get him started.
Yeah. So, Polestar, decent car. Their sales are up. Their revenue is up. They're still saying that they're going to meet their production goals of some 50,000, I think it was, or something like that for the year. They
Yeah.
did 21,200 in the first half of the year, and they are all filled with confidence, but their stock price is not.
Jeff just said that in the comments. Polestar stock is not awesome.
No, it's not. Apparently, there was they had their earnings report. They missed something by like just a fraction, and it was based on two analysts that had been covering the stock. And there's only two analysts that are covering it because the stock is so new. So right after that, the price just plummeted based on these these two new analysts, and they're not necessarily that they're new, but it's one of the first quarters, I think, for them to announce earnings since they merged. So from there, the stock just went. But they're doing everything they're supposed to do.
When your production is still low, 9,000 units, doubling doesn't sound as impossible, but I would disagree and say, how come the old guys can't do it? And I'll tell you the
That's true.
reason is they make more money on gas cars Why am I going to cut into my own sales?
True.
Cannibalize myself with a car on which I make very little margin, if any. Hopefully don't lose too much.
Well, some of these companies that are getting these EVs out are earning customers for life.
Yes.
Speaking of life and a way not to create life.
What do you got?
How is
What
it?
could be worse than the joke we made earlier?
Yeah. So this is your article. You do it.
So we've got this doctor here, Christopher Yang, MD. I perform what is definitely the world's first at-Rivian-powered vasectomy today. Powering clinic went out. Patient didn't want to reschedule because he already had time off. Electrocautery was normal. Procedure went great. Yeah, so when your power's cut, you can still get a snip. Not bad.
Ba-dum-bum.
Well, I mean, yes.
That is, I don't know. Would you do that? Because there's always a thing of like, are we sure these tools are going to work with the power, or you're just good with it? Because this almost looks like it's in a house.
It almost does, but you notice the front door is a little nicer and is just glass. But I would say, if the doctor's confident, I'm confident.
You have too much faith in doctors.
Yeah, Dr. Nick, he does great work.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
then again, I go to dentists in developing countries.
Yeah, that's it. And get tattoos.
I don't get tattoos overseas.
Yeah. Did you not?
No. I go to a guy in Seattle who does photorealistic work.
Okay.
I've looked at prices overseas, but I've never done it.
Maybe that's what we were talking about, where I thought you were crazy because you were like, did you just want to get hepatitis in a bottle instead? It's cheaper.
Do they sell that?
Mexico, you can get a lot of things.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. Speaking of things that you don't want, Virginia is going to try and go back on what was set up under the previous administration, where they're going to follow California's environmental rules. They don't want to phase out gas vehicles by 2035, so they are going to do what they can to reverse that. And there are some other states that are also going to do that.
Because I get it that there's a certain segment of the electorate that doesn't care for green initiatives, but this is just painful, man. Let us move into the future.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna disagree with you, and probably
Okay.
most everyone who's watching.
Okay?
Some of these plans have called for 2030. Some of them are 2035. I don't necessarily think that we are ready to mandate it. I would rather have capitalism work the way it's working, because right now the only reason why the electric cars are coming around is because people made a good electric car. And now everyone wants one, everyone wants to be on board because it makes sense, the prices are going to come down. But if you mandate it before we're ready, because I'll tell you some things right now, we do not have a lot of vehicles that can meet up to ICE vehicles in what they do. There are no minivans whatsoever out there. There are no full-size SUVs that can hold 7 or 8 people. Towing is absolutely 100% not solved. They've barely figured out how to make a charging station for something that is towing. And we've already seen pictures where they set it up wrong. So we've got to get these things figured out. And if you can get an F-350 that can tow a boat 400 or 500 miles, everyone's going to be on board. But if you don't have a replacement, you can't force people into something that you don't want, not that they don't want, but you can't force people into things that there's no substitute for.
So the F-350 is not included in this. This only goes up to light-duty trucks. Cars and light-duty trucks. So even the F-250, I believe, would be excluded. So for things like towing, go with a bigger one. Yeah, there are SUVs that are larger right now, but they are absolutely priced out of just about everyone's market. But that's, as Jeff points out, that's 12 years off. A lot can change. And the problem with letting the market decide is the market is run by dinosaurs selling dinosaur juice.
But it will die on its own. And I just don't like the whole idea of forcing it when people aren't necessarily ready. If you don't have an infrastructure out on the highways to charge quicker, to have charging stations where they need to be, I just think there's a lot more that needs to be done. We say it's 12 years out, but look where we were 12 years ago, 2010, and how far could a Tesla? The only thing out was a Roadster, right?
Right.
Tesla. Okay, and how far could it go?
1.5 feet.
No. Well, what
Not
was
far.
the range on? I don't know.
Well over 100. I don't know. 200 maybe. 180. I don't recall.
So, are we really that much better off if that car got to 200 miles of range, and now 12 years later, most of the cars coming out by Hyundai, by Ford, they're coming in at 200 to 250. Tesla's coming in at 300.
I'm sure someone in the comments will tell us what the actual range of the original Roadster is, but look at how far all EVs have come in the last 12 years. They went from 0 to 60.
I just think that people are going to stop buying them, and it's going to get to a point where these legacy auto manufacturers that survive are going to go, we're going to stop building ICE cars. This is not worth our money anymore. It will happen on its own, but there are still segments of the market that need to exist and can't just be cut out. And people will make the right choice eventually. I mean, there was half the country was probably saying, I am not giving up my horse. And eventually they all gave up their horse. They realized that it didn't make sense. That was the dinosaur 100 years ago.
So it was pointed out in the comments, EPA rating was 244 miles, but bear in mind that the original Roadster was the size of a go-kart.
Mm-hmm.
But, it fortunately, we're allowed to disagree because it doesn't matter what you and I think. We don't get to influence Virginia's legislation. Wait.
No, we don't.
Do you?
I don't.
Okay, so I'm just making sure. If there was something you weren't telling me.
Oh, there probably isn't. I'm going to keep it a secret, whatever it is.
So a couple of quick Tesla ones to blast through, because we are getting, close to the Q&A time, if we have time. If you had something you wanted to say before we get into that, by all means do.
Well, Sean wants to know how many EVs that we have.
Oh,
in
yes,
the family.
please.
Right now we're currently sitting at 4. I sold one 2 weeks ago, and I got 8 on order. Not for the families. They're used for business, but that's where I'm at.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Just wanted to throw that out. But maybe there's someone like me who's using them for business and bought a whole bunch in Bexar County, Texas.
Well, we should say that because Tesla leads soaring EV adoption in Bexar County, Texas. What a ridiculous lead. Now, mind you, this is a very small area, but nearly 90% of the cars sold through July were Teslas.
Is that year to date?
It says through July, so I assume that's year to date.
Okay.
And Tesla has about 70% U.S. market share, so that's a significant difference between them.
Yeah, that is.
They also sold 12 Zero motorcycles.
I see that. What is it? What is a zero motorcycle?
I don't know.
I suppose it's an EV, zero emission motorcycles. Is that
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Oh, it's a dirt. Well, no, they have street bikes too. Interesting. Yeah, they've got this is electric street bikes and dirt bikes. Cool. That's an interesting county, I would say.
where is Bexar?
I don't know because in Texas they have a cajillion counties. The thing is, though, that's just one county. Can we zoom out a little bit? What would that look like?
For the rest of Texas?
Yeah, in California. Texas, Tesla is the second highest selling auto brand in California, behind only a Toyota.
Yeah, I missed your segue. Sorry.
Yeah, those are selling well too.
Yeah.
They can't all be winners. San Antonio is what Benjamin Sanders says.
Yeah, I just looked that up. It literally is San Antonio, not the outskirts, but the actual city is Bexar.
So yeah, second highest selling auto brand in California. Now, if anyone here has ever been to California in the last few years, it is absolutely Tesla Central. Especially when you get into the Bay Area. They're thicker than mosquitoes, that's for sure.
That's an interesting comparison.
Yeah. So what about zooming out some more? We get anything interesting there?
Yeah. The fact is, electric vehicles are now 10% of new vehicle sales globally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and this is just increasing all the time. And this does include plugins. So we're gonna give it that, but plugins are a way of people getting off their addiction. So,
And especially when gas prices are highest, some of those people who otherwise might just drive it as a regular non-plug-in hybrid might start plugging in more often.
very possible. And it just matters how easy it is. I can see people not plugging it in. I can see people being very anal about it. It just depends on the person. So I'm still not a fan of plugins, but I guess they are better than not.
And this big number, the BYD at 800,000, that does include plug-ins, plug-in hybrids.
Is it cars only, or is that including their buses? and
Oh,
other
I
stuff?
assume this is just for vehicles, not for buses. But even if it was buses, that's not going to, that's adds another, 5,000, 8,000, 10 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
The heavy-duty vehicles are always going to be a smaller number for the commercial vehicle, the industrial vehicles.
Yes.
So, I mean, good, right?
Right. It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
So, and like I said before, it's gonna happen.
And even with these big numbers, you got to wonder if there's any demand left.
Yeah, you might wonder, but I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of demand. So says Electrek with their article, Tesla is facing unprecedented demand. And that comes with quotes on both sides.
Well, this isn't just Fred saying it. This is the analysts who went out to tour Giga Berlin and see what's up with the company. That is their belief that the demand is just so darn strong and doesn't show any signs of softening just yet.
Yeah, they're saying that the Giga Texas is or Giga Berlin is extremely efficient. Looking at when it's at capacity, it's going with the single line that's in there, 10,000 cars per week, which translates easily into 520,000 cars a year. And that they're going to go higher than that. And that place probably has more room for more than one production line, but you got to start somewhere.
Right. From what I've seen, it looks set up to handle between 2 and 4 production lines without expansion. And that is in line with some of my more optimistic scenarios in my 11-year production prediction tracker. It is This is the new model of factory. This is what Shanghai eventually became. This is the new hotness. And they're saying, I don't know if it's in this article, but in other ones they've said the quality control looks fantastic, the paint looks fantastic, the margins look everything's just falling into place.
Excellent news. Excellent. For Tesla.
Yeah.
Not for people who hate Tesla.
Yes, but the past few years has been nothing but disappointment for them. They're used to it.
Yeah. Well, they still have other buildings that they have to open there.
More in Berlin or elsewhere?
In Berlin, they still haven't finished like their battery plant.
Oh, yeah.
So when they go to open that, they're going to be like, well, we're going to change this, and then environmental surveys, and that you're going to kill these snakes, or you did kill these snakes. Now you got to tell us where you're getting your water from, and oh no, you can't bottle it. That's not going to count.
Well, they've already applied for permits and have an upcoming hearing, an environmental impact hearing, open to the public, to local residents. Berlin is going to continue expanding.
Yeah, and the people around there are going to continue to fight and just be a pain.
Oh, they're not the locals who are fighting. They're the fake
yeah.
environmentalists from outside the region.
They're hired to go do that.
Mm-hmm. But like you were saying earlier, if Tesla's going to keep growing, going to stay ahead of Volkswagen, they're going to need new factories.
They are. And where do you think that they should put one or two?
Within driving distance of my house so I can get some drone footage. Or, if that doesn't work, when I made my list of 24 candidate countries, Canada came in number 2.
Look at that. Look at that. It's Mr. Smarty Pants over there.
It's just math, man. Just got to know what the variables are.
Well, good job. Which was number 1 again?
Japan.
Yeah, okay.
It's just numbers, man. Tesla met with federal government 4 times in the last 6 months over potential Canadian factory.
Do you think this may not be a car factory, but maybe like a mineral refining plant?
I don't think so. If it's not a car factory, it could be a heavy-duty factory where they make maybe... Matt was suggesting this recently. He was saying they should put it in Michigan, but it could be a van, like a delivery van, and police vehicle, like an emergency, like a first responder vehicle production line. Or for that matter, it could be the new compact. But I don't think they need another Model Y line in North America. I think 2 is sufficient. And I don't think maybe I don't know. I think it'd be for a new model, maybe a commercial one. What do you think? You're thinking batteries, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking some sort of refining of some sort, because if you get the materials refined up where they're being extracted from the ground, then you're only shipping the refined material, and I think that's what they would do, and that could speed up the process on getting materials refined.
Yeah, maybe.
It's and
I bet we'll know within the next couple months.
Yeah. Why don't you call Elon tonight? See what he's doing.
Yeah, I'll leave him another message.
What, the first one didn't get through?
No, the first 300 didn't get through. I think he might have changed his number and forgotten to give me his new one.
Typically after 300, you've been blocked for a while.
Yeah, I think so. But this rumor's actually heating up. Tesla has filed more public documents about a potential Canadian factory as clues emerge as to what it might make. What do you think? What do you think the clues are?
Now, do you remember when I lost this article when you gave it to me?
Oh.
So I had to throw it in, so I didn't read this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you read it thoroughly. Several times.
Mm-hmm.
Front to back, back to front, upside down.
I'm definitely not quickly scanning it right now. We're looking at copper foil. We're looking at electrolytes. We're looking at magnets, and there's more to come. Trust me. I'm open. Look at my smile. You know I'm not stopping there.
Oh,
So,
did you just say?
huh?
Did you read something from the article that I can't find?
Yes, it's halfway down, just
Oh,
above a
okay.
tweet.
Okay.
Yeah. So we shall see. We shall see. You may be right that it's not vehicles, but components or minerals. We shall see.
Yeah. 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 Um, I don't know how the process goes from like mining materials. Do they like they pull it out of the ground and at some point it has to be refined so that they're just getting out what they need. And does that happen on site
So the closer you
or
can move the refinement to the mine, the better it is overall. So that instead of moving 5 tons of ore, you're moving 50 pounds of refined material. So the objective is always
that's what I would think.
to get the refining as close to the mine as you possibly can.
Okay. And then you're just shipping the refined material, which is all that you need.
Yeah.
We still have a couple minutes. I'm going to answer JJ's question real quick. We're going to do a Nikola flyover tomorrow. We are probably getting ready to wrap this up. Right, Mr. B?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can wrap it up right here. And yeah, and so the news is next week we are going to be pre-taped. So we will be recording that in advance of next week.
Yes. Somebody's leaving town. Work release is over for a little bit. So we're going to make sure that we get a video out for you. And it just won't be live.
Yeah. Yeah. We may or may not be in the chat. So we'll see. But it will be just as good as this one.
Oh, no.
Who knows? We may even wear the
better.
same clothes.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. 'Cause-
Interesting.
Oh, I don't have any other clothes around here. I could probably wear a bib.
Yeah. So, yeah. And by the way, it's fun. Everyone in the comments is thinking it's because I'm going to San Diego. I'll be back from San Diego by then. But,
San Diego?
San Diego.
Yeah, isn't that how Ron Burgundy pronounces
Correctly pronounces
Yes.
it. He's infallible.
it? Hey, what does San Diego mean?
It was in the documentary Anchorman, but it slips my mind right now.
Oh, that's too bad because that would be interesting to
Yeah.
hear what San Diego means.
So JJ, I had these made locally because because I had to, and they look fantastic, and I will be getting them into an online store shortly. So yeah. All right. So thanks as always to both of our Patreons, who keep the channels running,
Thanks, guys.
which is super helpful. Bear's got his live stuff coming up. You said tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll do one tomorrow, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do the Lucid one this coming week, just because of that whole work release program.
And yes, because that's a real thing. We decided. And thank you to everyone in the comments for the well wishes on the trip. I will have fun doing that at least. Very
Yeah.
bit of anxiety, but I'll get through it. I have magnificent coping skills once in a while.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And I'll be fine on my trip. I'm my 10 days in solitary.
Yeah.
Trust me, I deserved it.
Staying at the
All
Martha
right.
Stewart suite.
Yes, I'm hoping for that. And that's going to be just about it for me.
I think that's it for me. I might be live on Friday. If it is, it will be from the road, so it would be a very different kind of show. But we shall see.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone from my side that's here. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks everyone on my side. Thank you, Bear, for your time as always.
Yes, and it is just always a good time with you, Brian. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
All right. Bye-bye.